The lecture hall aboard the TSS Kepler hummed with the low thrum of quantum engines, a sound that had become as familiar to the crew as their own heartbeats. Jassy Chun adjusted the holographic projector, her fingers dancing across the haptic interface with practiced precision. As the ship's xenobiologist, she'd given this presentation 17 times across 4 colony worlds. But something about tonight felt different. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice carrying across the dimly lit auditorium filled with soldiers, engineers, and terraforming specialists. What you're about to hear are the last recorded vocalizations of Earth's apex predators, preserved in the Global Biodiversity Archive before the Cascade event of 2187. The audience leaned forward. 2 centuries had passed since Earth's biosphere collapsed. Most of these people had never seen their homeworld, born instead in the sterile corridors of generation. Ships or beneath the copper skies of New Brasilia. Jassy activated the first file. A deep, rumbling growl filled the chamber, resonating in frequencies that made the hair stand up on every neck. The hologram shimmered to life, reconstructing a massive feline form from genetic data and museum scans. "This is Panthera leo, the African lion. Adult males weighed up to 250 kilograms. Their roar could carry across 8 kilometers of open savanna. A biological amplification system achieved through specialized vocal fold structures and a uniquely adapted larynx." The roar played again, and several junior officers visibly flinched. The sound was primal, triggering something ancient in their amygdalae, a genetic memory of being prey. "Next, we have I won once." The voice came from the back of the hall, casual and matter-of-fact. Jassy's presentation froze mid-gesture. Every head turned. Marine Corporal Daniel Reeves sat slouched in the last row, his combat-scarred hands folded across his chest. His face was weathered beyond his 32 years, marked with the telltale subcutaneous scarring of emergency decompression survival. He met Jassy's incredulous stare without blinking. "Excuse me?" Jassy said, her scientific mind already racing through impossibilities. "That's Corporal. The last wild lion died in 2161. The last captive specimen expired 3 years later in the Brisbane Ark. Unless you're claiming to be over 80 years old. Not a lion," Daniel interrupted, standing up with the fluid grace of someone whose muscles had been enhanced with military-grade myofiber grafts. "A tiger. Panthera tigris. Bengal subspecies, if I remember the briefing correctly." The room erupted in murmurs. Jassy felt her heart rate spike, her neural implant automatically logging the stress response. "Corporal Reeves, that's even more impossible." "The last tiger was Kepler 442b, Daniel said, walking down the aisle with measured steps. "The Novo Calcutta colony. 3 years ago. You weren't in that sector, Dr. Chun, but I was." Jassy's fingers flew across her personal terminal, pulling up classified military records. Her security clearance, granted for xenobiological threat assessment, gave her access to Marine deployment logs. There it was, Operation Crimson Echo, Kepler 442b, 3 years prior. Casualty rate 73%. Daniel's unit was listed among the survivors. "The Novo Calcutta colony was a standard terraforming operation," Jassy said slowly, her scientific training warring with the impossible data before her eyes. "Population, 12,000, primary industry, atmospheric processing. There's nothing in the public records about, because it's not in the public records," Daniel said, now standing at the front of the auditorium beside her. Up close, she could see the slight shimmer of subcutaneous armor plating beneath his skin, the telltale gold ring around his irises that marked military-grade retinal enhancement. "Dr. Chun, what do you know about the ARC programs?" "Less official operations?" Jassy's mouth went dry. The ARC program had been humanity's desperate attempt to preserve Earth's biosphere, cryogenically freezing genetic samples, embryos, and in some cases live specimens. But the official narrative said everything had been lost when the orbital preservation stations failed during the Cascade. "I know what everyone knows," she said carefully. "That the arcs were destroyed. Most were, Daniel agreed. He glanced at the assembled crew, then back to Jassy. Permission to continue your presentation, Doctor? I think the context will be important. Numbly, Jassy nodded. She cycled through her files with trembling hands, bringing up the next predator, a massive striped cat. Its hologram prowling through reconstructed jungle undergrowth. Panthera tigris, she heard herself say. The Bengal tiger. Adult males reached 260 kilograms. Solitary hunters with bite forces exceeding 1,000 psi. They were faster than you'd think, Daniel said quietly. The simulations don't do them justice. When it moves through real jungle, not this hologram, there's no sound. Just displacement. Just absence where something massive should be. The room was utterly silent now. Novo Calcutta was a front, Daniel continued, his voice taking on the flat affect of a combat debrief. The colony was real enough, but beneath the atmospheric processors, they'd built a genetic resurrection facility. Black budget, need to know? Someone in the ARC program had smuggled out viable samples. Not just genetic data, but functional embryos gestated in artificial wombs. Jassy felt the floor shift beneath her feet. The energy requirements alone would be enormous, Daniel agreed. Which is why they built it on a geothermally active planet. They were bringing them back, Dr. Chun, all of them, lions, tigers, wolves, elephants, specimens that had been extinct for decades. Why? The question came from Commander Park in the front row. Daniel's expression darkened. Because the colonial administration believed that humanity had lost something essential when Earth died. That we'd become too soft, too divorced from our evolutionary context. They wanted to reintroduce predator-prey dynamics into the colonial experience. Controlled exposure, they called it. Managed wilderness zones. That's insane, Jassy whispered. It was hubris, Daniel corrected. The tigers escaped first. 60 kilograms of Siberian Bengali hybrid, bred for the slightly higher gravity of Kepler 442b, stronger, faster, more aggressive than anything that had evolved naturally. They adapted to the colony's infrastructure like it was just another forest. Ventilation shafts. Maintenance tunnels. They were perfect ambush predators in an environment designed by engineers who'd never considered such threats. He paused, his eyes distant. By the time command sent us in, 47 colonists were dead. The administrators had tried to contain it, keep it quiet. They failed. And you ate one? Someone asked, skeptical. Daniel's laugh was bitter. After we'd hunted it for 6 days through the processing plant's sublevels, after it had killed 3 more of my unit, after we'd finally cornered it in a thermal exhaust chamber and put 17 armor-piercing rounds through its skull. Yeah, Private Morrison suggested it. Said his grandmother used to tell him about something called trophy hunting. We cooked it over a chemical burner using emergency rations for seasoning. What did it taste like? The question came from Jassy. Surprising herself, Daniel met her eyes. Like muscle that had actually worked for survival. Like organic tissue that had evolved over millions of years for one purpose. Killing. Nothing like vat-grown protein. It tasted ... He searched for words. ... It tasted like Earth, like something we'd lost and couldn't get back. Jassy stood frozen, her presentation forgotten. Around her, the crew sat in stunned silence, processing the implications. If Novo Calcutta had succeeded, even partially, what else might be hidden in classified colonial operations? What other pieces of Earth's lost biosphere might be scattered across the colonies? The facility was destroyed, Daniel said. Official story, catastrophic failure in the atmospheric processing plant. Old genetic samples incinerated. Old specimens terminated. But I've seen the deployment rosters, Dr. Chun. There are 6 other colonies with similar power consumption patterns. Similar budget anomalies. He turned to face the full auditorium. So, when Dr. Chun plays you these recordings, when she shows you these extinct predators, remember, extinction might not be as permanent as we thought. And humanity might not be as safe as we believe. Jassy watched him walk back to his seat, her mind reeling with questions, with terrible possibilities. She looked down at her holographic controls, at the queue of extinct species waiting to be presented: wolves, bears, crocodiles, each one a ghost of Earth. A reminder of what humanity had lost, or perhaps, she thought with growing dread, what they'd tried to resurrect. She cleared her throat and resumed the presentation, but everything had changed. Each roar, each growl, each recorded vocalization was no longer just a historical footnote. It was a warning. A reminder that some doors, once opened, could never truly be closed. In the back row, Daniel Reeves closed his eyes and remembered the taste of tiger meat, the weight of extinction on his tongue, and wondered which colony would be next to learn that humanity's past was hunting its future.